So I think it's all destiny, I would say.
Oh yes, time. I believe technology and CA did not go hand in hand.
I mean, looking back, I can say fortunately, I was given a project of digitization.
Drastic change, which is a welcome change.
Yes.
Now, though, it is probably 3 years is what one can consider as a span of a platform.
Because I think at that point of time, everyone just got so excited, like not going physically and
No, they were still taking in physical because at that time only companies.
Some of the queries that I have returned is like you really feel satisfied and that lingers on for a couple of days. Ke, ha.
Hello everyone and welcome to Coffee with CA with me, your host Geena Bharwani. Today on this episode we have not just one chartered accountant but 3 chartered accountants who have chosen technology as their forefront and started their profession. So let's get started and dive deep into the journey of CA Dinesh Kumar Tejwani, CA Maitri Cheda and CA Uday Shah. So grab your cup of coffee and let's get started on this interview. Hello everyone and thank you for coming on the show. I've interacted with you all through CA Confessions and I really enjoy that. So I said, why not call all 3 of you all, given that you'll have a background in tech. And this is the first time we're actually having 3 people on the show at one time. So yeah, welcome. And I can't wait to dive deep into your journeys because I know each of you all have different journeys as such, right? So yeah.
So thank you, Geena, first of all, for the warmth and the hospitality accorded to all 3 of us. And we really enjoyed yesterday seeing the campus and especially the artificial hill and the forest. We went up to the top.
Yeah. That was really fun.
Yes.
It was good to see this sheer buildings, people, everything was too good.
Very good, yes. Absolutely, we really enjoyed and it's great to, have all 3 of us together. Yeah. Since we have a common, 10 years journey together, to separate this. So yes, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
That's nice.
For having
so I'm
us.
going to start off with my first question.
Yes.
All 3 of y'all are CAs. Y'all moved away from your traditional CA practice, right? And got into technology. Or maybe you started off with technology, given that I know a little bit about you. So I would love to, tell the viewers out there, what each of your journey has been like.
Okay, so for me, as I've already, earlier also discussed, but I'm a second generation CA and my journey was basically, I was on my way to become a CA and in between I discovered my love for computers, and what had really happened was before I became a CA, I became a tech person first. I fell in love with computers and then it was just a, side deal. CA was like, okay, because I've started out, let me just complete the journey. I completed my journey and at that time, I believe, technology and CA did not go hand in hand. So a lot of, doubt was there whether, do I have to choose one line and, leave the other. Yeah. And now I'm having a good time, when CA and CA profession and technology are seeming to merge together. So
that's nice. Yes. How about you, Udayji?
So when we qualified, the traditional practice was more like either you are doing tax practice or audit practice. My keenness was not for tax practice, then it was not so comfortable for us. And so, plus I had some experience on then, so to say, computerized accounting.
Okay.
So, thought we'll venture into that and it was very positive in terms that it would help the business to grow rather than an aftermath that a traditional practice would then do. Today, of course, things go aligned.
Yeah.
But then it was like that. So we thought of doing computerized accounting ourselves. We bought a computer software, started implementing within the office, and then took it to the clients. That's how the journey started.
That's nice. I know that you started off as a traditional chartered accountant and then you got into technology, right? Correct. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so see, I became CA in 1983.
Correct.
And the path was very clear that I have to take up a job first, work for a few years, and then start my own practice.
Okay.
So I joined ONGC as a finance officer. Now, fortunately, looking back, I can say fortunately, I was given a project of digitization
Okay.
of inventory system. It was a very large project, spanning about 2 years. Right?
Correct.
And in that project, I had to interact with several IT companies. Also, as part of the project, I was sent for training on COBOL programming for 6 weeks, foray into technology, and I got fascinated with that. Anyhow, so once I quit the job after 16 months, I started my traditional practice. That was 1985. Okay, and I never thought I would venture into technology back then. But then I spotted this as an opportunity because my clients back then would not have completed their manual accounts.
Okay.
So there'll be a backlog of several years. And as Uday mentioned,
Several years, not
several
just months.
years, yeah. I think 2-3 years, the balance sheet would not be ready.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So then I spotted this as an opportunity, and then because I had made several connections with IT companies in my previous job, I collaborated with one of the connections from there,
Correct.
and then developed my first accounting software in 1986.
Ah.
So that's how the journey into
Started
technology
off.
began. And then gradually, as digitization took off, the company started digitizing several processes. I started developing solutions for several companies.
Processes.
And then in 2000, full-fledged became a software product company. So I think it's all destiny, I would say.
Oh yes. So I think that's the common thing, right? We never charted out to get into technology first,
Yeah.
but maybe we could just say we were fated for this, more aligned towards technology,
Yeah.
and technology chose us.
That's nice. I have a quick question for you. You were in a state of dilemma,
Right.
How did you overcome that?
No, so the thing was that I think I never overcame that dilemma. I just pushed through that, okay, I will not leave computers behind.
Yeah.
And because I've started out this journey of, becoming a CA, since, as I again said that I'm a second generation CA, I
Correct.
have so many CAs in my extended family as well. So that was a given route, right? So
Okay.
the traditional route, 25 CAs in family, everybody's talking about only accounts and this. And I had just assumed that this is
That
what
is
I
your
have.
path.
This is what I have to do without thinking much, and I would not leave computers behind at all. So it was just pure, sheer stubbornness at that time, because constantly people would say that, no, you are riding 2 horses, you'll fall down.
You have to
at any
choose one
time.
or something
Yes,
like
yes,
that.
choose one or you'll fall down. There's no common confluence between both the careers. And no, I did not want to leave behind my coding, and that at that time it was a lot of fun because. See, again, these guys are talking about 80s, mid 80s. I'm talking about late 90s, when I
Correct.
went into this. And it's still at that time also, computers were not part of traditional this. I mean, they had
Yeah.
accepted that, yes, you have, digital accounting. I mean, accounts were maintained on computers somewhat. But still, I think other than that,
That
there
was only just the NIT time.
Yeah.
just NIT time. No, so
I
in
remember those
CA,
classes
CA
and all of
office,
it.
yes,
AppTech
yes,
and
yes.
NIT, these
AppTech
were
and
the
NIT.
NIT came much later.
Much later, yes.
I have done 3 months of NIT, and that's how my actually getting into coding started.
So I did 3 years of NIT. I was, sitting with engineering students. Okay, and the high of it was that I was the youngest because I joined in my 10th vacation, and there were students who were coming in from first year of engineering, and the great high was that I was beating them at the game.
Okay.
So it was fun.
That's nice. So it's really nice seeing how all three of you charter out in your own venture. You eventually charter out in your own venture. You started off with
Yes.
tech as such. So how different was it back then when compared to today? When you see tech on the forefront as a charter accountant, how different is it? For example, I can just probably say that you mentioned that it took you all many days just to reconcile accounts and balance sheets and all of it, right? And we are at the day and age where you just have at a click of a button, everything just getting reconciled.
Absolutely.
Right? So how difficult was it back then? Can you just
So I'll
draw
just
a
give
pattern?
you perspective from the government's
definitely.
side. Yeah. So see, back then, I think the biggest hindrance was acceptance by government authorities. I'll give you two small anecdotes.
Sure.
So for a client, when I went to the income tax officer with a printout of computerized cash book, he refused to accept it.
Oh.
He said, no, this is not cash book. Cash book has to be bound, page numbered, and I'll, actually physically verify and sign. No, how do I do that? Here. So there was, resistance from the government authorities. Second anecdote I'll give you, when you form a company back then, you have to give a memorandum of an article of association
Correct, yeah.
for approval. Okay. Now at that time, all memorandum and article of associations were typed.
Yes.
Okay.
Typewriter, yeah.
So I thought, why type? Why can't I, put it in Word
And
print it on a dot matrix printer and give it to them? Similar thing, it was refused, saying that it was not typed. So I'm just giving you these examples.
Correct.
A lot of resistance from government authorities at that time. Gradually, of course,
They
things change.
eventually got-
Now, Geena, the change is government is the driver. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the biggest change.
That's the biggest change. Because now with e-filing, e-payment of taxes,
Yeah. And GST itself.
GST itself, totally digital solution. So that actually forced everybody to look at digitization and automation. I think that's a major change. I would say government has been the main driver behind all this.
Correct. From them not accepting at first, and now like them.
They are the ones who are mandating that this is what we want.
Correct. Exactly. That's a great drastic change, which is a welcome change.
Yes,
actually.
Yes.
And it also, correct me if I'm wrong, it also reduces all the errors that are possible in terms of manual filing
Yeah, certainly.
of returns, and probably also manual accounting.
So basic validations, yes, do change, but then now you have digital errors. So
Yeah.
it's just displaced.
Can you give an example of a digital error?
Not from the top of my mind, but so sometimes when you are e-filing certain things, wrong information could go, because at some field you just require a date, right?
Correct.
So that date could be entered wrong, data entry if it is happening.
Like a month and a year and a year, month different.
That, or maybe a completely different year altogether.
Yeah.
Because those validations still, I think we have a little bit of time where, all these things also will be taken directly
Correct.
from the source and there will be no scope of error. But something like this, or maybe you entry wrong names, the entry part where, human error, that could happen.
So
I'll give you one example here. This is happening even now also. In TDS, what happens is a wrong 10 gets spent to a pen. Okay, this has happened with me also, with my company also.
Okay.
So suddenly you see that somebody else's liability is appearing in your 26 AS. Okay, and this is something where you have to really run, from pillar to post, because the jurisdictional officer is not able to fix that error. So these and this is happening, not very frequently, but there are cases.
So you could end up doing that. It is just a data error, but digital errors do happen.
Do exist, yeah.
And then I think when the income tax website, when it was overhauling, they did a lot of mistake where they forgot to process some returns in a way that assessees ended up having a lot of liability, which then was difficult to rectify. So those kind of errors are still happening.
So these are they are major errors, but they are very once in a while errors.
Once in a while, yeah.
Minor mistakes. It's
Correct.
not a huge.
Yeah.
It's kind of till such time that solution has smoothened up. There is always a smoothening time or curve that. So just one more to this is the other side, the enterprise side. At times the enterprise is not ready. So if I'm doing something annually and then suddenly somebody would ask for quarterly, I have not checked, validated the systems working in those spheres correctly.
Correct, yeah.
Or some additional information, and then I've not validated it. When it was human, you could validate. When it is digital, you still need to validate and don't assume that it is going to fall.
Correct.
allow it to smoothen up.
Yeah, allowing it to, because even when you see when GST had started, there were so many errors in the beginning.
yes.
Yeah, the first few,
2
I
years,
think 2 years, not even months. The first 2
2
years, people
years.
were like struggling, but now they've
Now
got
it's
into
so
that
smooth. Yes, yes.
synchronization.
So that much time, if you allow, things will smoothen out eventually, because technology, it tends to smoothen itself
Yeah,
out.
so any government large project we have seen, in our experience, takes about 2 to 3 years to stabilize,
Okay.
Whether you look at MCA or GST or income tax, or when income tax filing was revamped,
This
it
is,
took
if I'm
about
not
2
missing,
years.
in 2006.
21.
21.
21,
Okay.
the whole website was revamped.
Revamped.
Yeah,
and
earlier it was in 2006,
Correct.
right? So
Yes.
when it was revamped, there were a lot of hiccups. So such large government projects take time to stabilize.
So 2006 was when they started with the e-filing.
Yeah,
the first,
correct. I
first
remember
filing.
that.
Yes.
Because I think at that point of time, everyone just got so excited, like not going physically and
No, they were
filing
still
the-
taking in physical, because at that time
Yeah.
only
Copy
companies,
was.
Companies had
So I
done.
remember that was the time I actually started having fun in the practice. That okay, this is where I come in. I can read the XML where people were not able to, and then people realize that okay, she has very good skill at hand. But she's able to read languages which we don't understand.
Talking about languages, all three of you all learn coding in some way or the other, right?
Yes.
Right.
So to start off with, what is the languages that you started off with?
Okay, so when I started with something called Clipper Summer 87.
Okay. So for an audience of like accounting background,
Or even us, I don't remember
So
this at
okay,
all.
this is kind of parallels to a compiler which takes codes
okay,
and makes it into a executable program.
all right, okay.
So that is how it is. It had its own sequences and syntax, which was similar to then you can say DBase or FoxPro,
Okay.
but it was not open format. It was a compiled format. Good. It was giving you really concise EXEs and applications, good for that environment, and was very speedy.
Okay.
Then, of course, we moved on to upper. So the UI came, and then GUI came, and that's how the platforms kept on changing.
Yeah.
Now, though, it is probably 3 years is what one can consider as a span of a platform.
Yeah. How about you? What did
Same thing. I think
you started the same way?
So started with COBOL. The first
yeah,
accounting
correct. The
software
project
was
that you were
created in
talking about.
COBOL. Then after that, what Uday bhai mentioned, like Clipper 87 was the go-to software for every
Yes.
developer.
Okay.
It was very easy.
Okay.
I tell you, it was so easy, like
Is it?
I would carry the software in a floppy, go to a client. The client will say, okay, make these changes. I'll sit on the computer, make the changes there and then, compile and give it to them,
Oh,
It used to be, that simple process.
Wow, I have learned on C++. So I started with C, C++, Java, Visual Basic, and onwards. So I have not
Clipper
heard.
87 you
no,
never knew, yeah.
No. So we had a compiler, but I don't think I worked on C and C++.
that's nice.
And then after that, it was, of course, Visual Basic.
Visual
Technologies
Basic, yes.
came in.
Correct, yeah.
And from there on now, open source.
Open
And then
source.
web technologies. So
Web
that has been the
technology.
transition now.
Transition.
And now it is AI. So I think, as he rightly mentioned, the
Every 3
lifespan of any
years.
technology is 3 years, not more than that.
But what helps, over here is that you learn one language, you're able to,
Connect,
connect,
yeah,
and you are
It's
able
very
to
easy to connect
shift
to
on.
them.
That's nice. So my next question is to you, where it comes from this aspect of, say, you're completely into tech right now, right? And you have a background in chartered accountancy. So how do you merge those two fields?
No, actually, I'm not merged the two fields, but the knowledge of chartered accountancy has helped me in everything. So I've worked for jewelers, I've worked for cable manufacturer, I've worked for mail order business. You could easily understand the nuances of that particular industry. Even for that matter, considering the, say, performance metrics and so on, which might be kind of rocket science for somebody who's not. For me, the chartered accountancy backed me up. If I had to pick up something, I could easily pick it up.
Okay.
So that is what it is. I'm still practicing technology only.
Yeah.
But chartered accountancy is a backbone
It's like
for
your backbone.
Yeah, it has really given us, and I still believe it gives you a all-round sphere that you are groomed for anything and everything. That's
So
how.
I think you also, cater to investment bankers
Bankers. So
also.
that's
So that where that's where you being
your
a CA
numbers
would be the
being,
plus point.
yeah.
Yeah, so it helps. It helps. I crunch a lot of data now. Uh, at times, memo data is being processed with very small time and so on. So we do that. But as I said, eventually it is the knowledge as to what is expected. Result is easily understood thanks to chartered accountancy.
You might be doing your audits also properly in terms of like the data audits.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course, of course.
So I'll give you my perspective as a product company, right?
Yeah.
Like he also has product on portfolio
Forefront,
management and jewelry. So we had products on tax filing, right? Now the moment I and my co-founder, we both were chartered accountants. So people trusted, that the co-founders are
yes.
domain experts,
Okay.
Yes.
right? They
So
are not
that
relying
also
on external
helps.
party to update the software. So that brought a lot of trust in the brand. So
And no brand runs without trust.
without this,
Absolutely,
absolutely.
So your face value. So see over here, they are in tech company and being a CA helps. For me, being a tech person in a CA world helps. So they're
Yeah,
like,
so I was
okay,
just going to ask you that.
yes.
I was like, how does that help?
So as I said, earlier that after government started driving a lot of
Tech
digital, yes,
initiatives
tech
and all.
initiative, digital this.
Yeah.
So that's when the world started merging together, where technology is important. You cannot ignore it anymore.
Correct.
Especially after the pandemic, people were ready to move online or cloud computing. Earlier they used to not trust. So now basically things have become easier per se. So now being a tech person in a CA world is also helping because they trust that okay, she's a CA, plus she knows her tech, so they will want me to look at their solution.
I can just see and like gauge how different each one of y'all are at the same time while having like tech either at the forefront or at the back. Or chartered accountancy on the forefront or at the back.
Or at the back, yes.
Yeah. So that's a really interesting journey that y'all have had. So here's my next question when it comes to, if there was one thing that you picked up from your entire journey and you could have redone it in a different way, what would each one of y'all pick? I can start off with you.
Tricky. So there are too many learnings, honestly, and I think so a lot of things. But yeah, if I have to go back and come back again, I would probably today do multiple technologies simultaneously, so that you are always on the forefront of the technology rather than you are running behind the technology.
Yeah.
So here is a scenario whereby the platforms change and you start moving.
Correct.
But I would want to be part when it is moving rather than doing a product when it has stabilized. We have seen, I should not be naming, but then there was an OS of Microsoft which used to crash. And then doing a product for that, and it kept on crashing. So it took all of us, the community, to understand it is not the products which are crashing, it is the technology which is crashing. Eventually, the technology was moved to the next level. But this is how it is. So probably we should have been a little more widespread onto the technology. Kind of started with open source way earlier than rather now, and that is how that's what I would want to do if I were to go back and come again.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I think I would second that thought. I mean, because in technology companies, the main challenge is obsolescence, right?
Correct.
So whatever you're doing will become obsolete after a few years. We face that challenge first, while moving from DOS to Windows.
Correct.
After that, from desktop to client server, then from client server to web technologies. So as a small company, I think the main problem is attracting talent. So if I was to go back, I'd have thought of scaling little higher to attract a better talent, so that we were able to transition to new technologies faster. that is something which we, looking back, I think we lacked that.
Yeah, I completely concur with it.
Yeah.
So both the things. Now, as he says, the size also is a very important issue.
Important, because as tech improves, then automatically you'll have to be able to adapt to it easily, like
Adapt
how we
easily,
spoke
right.
earlier, right? Yeah.
So
How about
hindsight, they say that in hindsight you have 20/20 vision. In hindsight, knowing what I know now, I would also have, probably
Right.
taken up more opportunities of technology and not held myself back thinking that I'm not sure whether this is working
Correct,
or not.
especially
You were,
because
sailing in two boats, right?
Yes, sailing two boats. So what happens is, you cannot excel in
Either one.
Either,
even
yeah.
if you see, basically what happens is you're excelling maybe people around you. I mean, in technology also, what used to happen, I was competing with engineers around me, and I was still topping. But there I'm stopping, right? I'm not excelling my own standards, or I'm not
Yes,
going where
yes,
I
yes.
you're not
probably would have
like
wanted
going
to.
one level above the engineers, like
Yes.
you were stopping up at the
I'm doing good, I feel, because
yeah,
there are
exactly, which makes sense at that point
yes.
of time.
At that point of time, I did not know whether this is the path I'm going to take, right? I might come back to this, so I don't want to even take up, and I'll just continue here. I could
Correct.
have done that. So, but then again, as you know, hindsight, you have 20/20
Absolutely,
vision.
That's nice. So, thanks a lot for that. So, given that now, three of you all different backgrounds, different fields right now, okay? Um, there's digital transformation in the forefront of every field, right? Right from, like, you dealing in jewelry also at the digital forefront is, it's quite a diverse field in itself. So, what do you think is the next step? Like, thinking from a chartered accountant's hat, what do you think is the next step which transformation is required in?
In accountants
In
this
accountant's perspective.
perspective. Okay, so basically, we've been seeing a lot of changes in this whole profession as such. A lot of tech is
Yeah.
coming in. Tech is being the forefront, where it is being
Correct.
mandated by the authorities, regulators everywhere. Be it any aspect of
Correct.
a finance world per se. So accounts also, for example, if you take accounts can be done by a non-accountant now. Your
correct.
software is doing everything for you. Your
Yeah.
softwares are becoming smart. You can basically your software can read your bank book and just directly pass the entries. You just have to
Correct.
check. So now a chartered accountant has to ask that what do I bring on table, because the basics that the practicing chartered accountants, I mean, I still feel that from a chartered accountant's perspective, so if they are practicing, the traditional practice won't work anymore, I feel. They'll have to bring up new things. So you'll have to think about maybe how you can add perspective with tech. So you have to imbibe tech in your regular in your day-to-day
More
practice.
becoming on like an advisor rather than
Yes,
like
yes. So you have
an
to see,
auditor.
you should be able to, use the tech, derive the result, and look at the insights, provide insights. That is going to be the, changes that you need to come up with, is what I feel.
Yeah. How about both of you all? What do you all feel?
So if I were to say, I concur with her. A lot of old practices are going out, weeding out. All your filings are online. Many of the filings, the systems are doing it. So
Correct.
GST filing is automated. You really are not doing except validating. Your tax filing will be automated very soon. Okay, you will be accepting it rather than filing it.
Correct.
So yes, you have to change your focus area. You have to practice something more than just filing. Even audit practice for that matter, assurance practice. It is changing because software is bringing out this. Now it is for you to create an insight and bring out some more out of it. Or yes, advisory. Then you have to get into other things. So there are new avenues. Okay, but crypto is something.
Yeah.
New mode of payments have come in. Those have virtually come into the
Crypto
system.
accounting is also quite
Yeah,
a
so
huge thing.
Yes.
huge, and it's a huge volume game.
Yeah.
We are doing it for some of the
Correct.
algo traders, and it's a huge number crunching, and that's where yet again the CA background can work. He can understand what is happening. Even the trader himself does not understand many of those transactions which are happening automatic on crypto exchanges.
Correct.
So this is where, and they should look for such opportunities. They should work on such things.
I'm going to come back to you on that crypto question, but yeah, what is your
Yeah, I
point
think
of
after
view?
digital transformation, I think last 1.5 years we have seen how AI is impacting
Yes.
every
Correct.
profession, and CA is not left out from that. So one is AI is going to change fundamentally we interact with knowledge, right? So text research or summarization or drafting, those processes are going to change, already changing,
Yeah.
right?
I think
And
ICA has already introduced their
yes,
AI
yes, yes.
tool.
So AI in ICI has already done a wonderful job of, skilling and educating, chartered
Yeah.
accountants about AI. And also a lot of routine tasks, like reconciliations and the data entry will be done by, AI. So I think that is something which is fundamentally change, the work profile of a chartered accountant. A lot of things will happen via AI, and then even the customers would have access to that. So that's the next, phase
The
of
next phase in which
technological evolution which is happening in every field, including for the CAs. So
Correct.
CAs to equip themselves with this skill now,
Yeah.
and then AI will make inroad into every product, right? I think even in accounting or
Yeah.
tax filing. So that's one skill which is needed by every chartered accountant, whether in job or whether in practice.
Now coming back to the
Crypto.
crypto accounting, because I've always been very curious about it. Like, crypto is you have no sort of like graph which is there at all. How do you, account for it?
So, repository of all the transactions are created. Of course, the exchanges are evolving. They are not as good as our Bombay Stock
SEBI
Exchange or
or-
NSC.
Yeah.
So they are evolving. They are not able to give output as necessary, but still, repository of transactions are occurring. What you need to do is understand. And this repository is also not standard. From A exchange to B exchange, or oftenly there are,
Multiple repositories?
Huh?
Multiple repositories?
No, multiple players. So
Okay.
exchange is one place, but there are pockets through
Okay.
whom you do the crypto transaction.
Correct.
Now they give separate output. You may not have access to the direct exchange output unless you
Yeah.
are a volume player or you have signed on to the exchange. So having said that, the data consistency is not good. But still, you need to analyze how they are giving, understand what it means, and then take it up. It's a challenging task as of now. Understanding is challenge. So my first project, I would have actually we were on 6 months lag.
Okay.
So that's where the chartered accountants, their patience, their mind could bring this to. And today, I think so. What quarter on quarter, we summarize it in 3 days.
Super.
That's great. Like on 3 days for crypto accounting, that's a huge game changer itself.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think back when he started, you used to take how many days just to
Yeah,
single
I was
days
just going to
data?
ask you that.
Oh, I'll tell you, to understand itself, as I said, we were on 6 months lag.
Lag, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So this is how it used to be. That number crunching was so difficult, and for this purpose, we had a separate, very high-end server, which was not the trading server. The
Correct.
data was replicated, and then we were doing it. So still, it was 6 months lag, and today it's 3 days.
So I've had a wonderful time talking to all three of y'all. So now we are moving on to our next segment, which is usually like, the CA that we have interviewed earlier. We leave a question for the next CAs, not knowing who is going to come in next, right?
Okay, all right.
So I'm just going to quickly read out the question. On the previous episode, we had CA Kashmira Nirmal and CA Varun Nirmal that had come in on the show, and we had interviewed them. And they left a question for this upcoming CAs, that is, AI is a demon or a savior or assistant for our profession. What are your takes?
Wow. So that sounds
Starts-
like
so
it was
starts
meant
from-
for us, no?
Yeah.
I mean, they did not know that tech people are
Tech
coming
people are
next.
going to come,
Correct, yeah.
Oh, great. So let's start with him first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think earlier also I mentioned in one of the question that you asked is AI is more going to be a digital assistant for chartered accountants. So there's nothing to be worried about AI as a technology. The term used is co-pilot. So
Okay.
AI is going to be a co-pilot, sitting with you and performing a lot of tasks which otherwise a lot of mundane tasks
Correct,
for
yeah.
you. So, and nothing to worry about AI, rather, embrace it,
Yeah.
So yeah, I concur 100%. It is not something which is going to kind of take on to. It is going to be your assistant. So embrace it. In fact, okay. So just to give a context, earlier when we used to embrace a technology, we used to always be with pinch of salt. Okay, whether this is good, bad, ugly. Eventually, you realize you have to embrace everything that is coming because change is constant. If you don't do it, then you are thrown out. So rather embrace it. And I don't see nothing can replace human mind. It's as simple.
Definitely.
So even if some tasks are replaced, human mind tasks are replaced, I think it's just a displacement that is happening. Your life is more
Correct.
richer. So I mean, if you see, we don't use telegrams anymore. Post is almost not used at all. So when emails came in, post was
Correct.
threatened, and I think it's pushed out now. It's been pushed out. So when post came in, pigeons were displaced. So I think it's just a matter of displacement. Jobs displaced from here till there, and the way we
It's-
work,
yeah,
the way we
correct,
do business, the
exactly.
way we conduct business changes. But it definitely enhances the life. Again, there is one more point, which is that it's like your knife, right? How you use it. It's
It's a double-edged sword.
double edge. So social media at one point it is good. It's giving a lot of people advantage to showcase
Correct.
their talent. But at the same time, it's also an addiction. It's also a lot of this. So it's pros and cons are there, but it's how we use it.
So actually, I want you all to think about a question and probably write it for us too. Over here, one of y'all can write it down over here.
So,
I'm going to
Yeah,
I'm going to do
please,
the honors
please.
of giving it to the senior
All three of
first.
us are supposed to write, or one.
Yeah, one of
One
y'all.
question
Just
from
one
one
question from three of y'all. All right. Can I have your signature of all three of y'all?
This is assurance practice.
विजय पूरा करना क्यों मत लिखना अभी
हाँ.
at
Q is for
the
mystery. This.
iPad you're supposed to sign. He just writes Q.
तो लोग पूछेंगे ना
But I
क्यों?
have been doing this Q for donkey's years.
No.
It's my initial.
Initial.
Oh, okay.
But why Q? You're you.
Thank you so much for this. So we are on to our next segment, which is basically a fun segment. I know we have been having fun. Yeah.
I
but
thought
now-
it was right from the start.
Now on to more fun segments. So I'm just going to quickly use my phone for this. All right. Yeah. So the first thing is, what's your favorite hack or shortcut that you discovered in your career that made your workday easier?
Some of the queries that I've returned is like you really feel satisfied and that lingers on for a couple of days. I've done this. So as I said, while we talk about crypto and then we said the time frame.
Correct.
So when you reduce a time, or for that matter, so when you are doing fund accounting,
Yeah.
there is a lot of processing which occurs at day end. It's called day end process. And when you reduce the time and you save, that's when you feel really gratified. And that's where
That's
something, that gives you.
So my hack is that since I think I've always been a morning person. Since last 4 to 5 years or maybe more, I've been waking up at 5. So that's the hack which works the best for me. I get a lot of me time in the morning.
Yeah.
I tend to finish up all my chores that are there by the time it's time to go to work. And then evenings are, for relaxing and early wind up and everything. So that is helping me, keep track of a lot of things. I'm the happiest when I follow this routine. So.
How about you?
So for me, I think recent years have seen a lot of over communication. So the communication is coming from all directions. So managing communication is something which is or was issue with everyone.
Correct.
So the hack that worked for me was zero inbox policy.
Oh,
Yes. So every day at the end of the day, my inbox is zero.
that's
He has
nice.
taught us also that.
Zero
So the
inbox.
first, I think again, this is 5-6 years back that he had, that you should have. And one more thing he insisted that is that if there's some work that comes to you and you can do it instantly, do it and finish it off.
2-minute rule, yeah.
That
2-minute
2-minute
rule.
policy, yes.
2-minute policy. So that's what I learned from him. Learned as in, that's what he insisted that we should do, and that has helped me a lot.
That's nice. How do you balance the old school CA practices with the fast-paced world of tech? I think this would be for you,
Yeah, she's
especially
practicing as well as into
specifically.
technology.
Right.
Yeah, do you ever find yourself going back to pen and paper?
Pen and paper would be mostly for doodling, nothing else. I don't absolutely hate, wasting paper, but just for doodling or something. Other than that,
Correct.
I think we need to merge the tech with your traditional practice.
Correct, yeah.
So
Now they can never be seen as two separate things.
absolutely not. You have to, because if you do not, then you're not riding the wave and you're
Yeah.
becoming obsolete. So the best way is to merge, be open. Be okay to unlearn a lot of things and accept what is coming in.
Please. Nice. So, if you weren't a CA and if you weren't into technology, okay, I gave a very specification of technology. What would you be doing?
I think I would be a travel person. I would be traveling, eating, cooking, reading. If that was the thing. I mean, are you
Yeah.
asking for a career? What
Career or even like now a lifestyle
Yes,
blogger.
yes. I probably would have been something like that, where
That's
I'm
nice.
constantly chasing a lot of this because I like adventure sports also. So just go to place, find out what to eat, cook there. This I think I would have been a boho chick only, just constantly this.
That's nice. How about you, Dinesh ji?
I think if not technology or CA, I would have been a creative person, So
Okay.
I would have been into some
You're still a creative
thing.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not to the extent I want, So one thing is I get, bored by any routine or, monotonous job,
Correct.
So I want something exciting, something new to happen, something creative to happen, So yeah, I would have been a creative person.
He still is. I mean, let me just add on to this. He
Yeah.
writes, he makes small, just for the heck of it, he'll make AI programs just because he's bored. He'll keep on trying new things. So that is also creativity, in some
Correct, yeah,
form.
definitely.
Yes.
In
So
its
he'll
own form.
write, he will make codes, he will play with music. So he's a creative person.
That's nice. How about you?
Difficult, but then back then I would have been probably engineer of some kind.
Engineer.
Engineer, yeah.
Okay.
And today, when I think of it, I might become a coach or something,
Okay. Coach in.
Lifestyle coach.
possibly.
He does a lot of social service work.
That's
So
nice. So
he would have probably been a social
a good lifestyle coach.
entrepreneur or
Lifestyle
something, where facilitating.
Possibly. But coaching or kind of grooming would have been something I would have loved to. Yeah.
So my last question to you all would be, what's one quote or anecdote that you will have picked up over the years and that's helped you, or that's stuck with you, or struck you at one point of time?
Want me to start?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so being a female in a world where mostly there's a lot of male domination, I have been always very inspired with Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In.
Okay.
So in that book, she tends to say that women in leadership position are very less because they tend to lean out. They
Correct.
tend to think about, I cannot ask for support, I cannot take help, and sometimes there are a lot of biases that not only external but internal also. There's a bias that I cannot ask this.
Yeah.
So her favorite quote is that create a support system and lean in. Ask for help. Because there's one very interesting incident she gives out, and I had learned from when I've heard a lot of women leaders.
Correct.
They also have same anecdote to share, that given a man's position and a woman's position at the same place. If there's some task a woman does, she will always doubt herself, thinking
Correct.
I've not done it properly. And at the same time, the guy, he is like, oh, pats on the back, like, ah, yeah, I've done it. So that support system, that the feedback that men receive is different and women receive is different. So she said that you create the support system, pat yourself on the back, and ask for lean in, take more out of this, and say yes to a lot of leadership position, not sabotaging
Do not
yourself.
question yourself.
Don't sabotage that. Okay, I won't be able to do this. I have this, that. So
nice.
that's something I would like, a lot of people also, especially females looking for leadership position, to take up.
That's nice. How about you, Uday ji?
So, one quote and one book, Illusions by Richard Bach. And it goes this way: argue for your limitation and they are surely yours. So, when you said, when in doubt, what do you do? This is what I do.
Okay.
And I would give it to everybody, kind of, don't argue for your limitation, try it out. If not this, then that, something. So how it goes in the book is very amazing. He walks through the wall and the friend or partner says, how? And he says, argue for your limitation. Today we see so many things we never expected in our own childhood.
Correct.
So
yeah.
anything is possible. And I think so we should not kind of say no. Instead, try and embrace.
And yours, Dinesh ji?
Yeah, so I think I'll talk about a book which has left a lasting impression on me, and it's The Professional
Okay.
by Subrato Bagchi.
Okay.
So this book is for everybody who's at whatever stage of career. Maybe people are just entering the career, or mid-level or top-level management. The book talks about, it's not necessary just to have, technical skills for the job to be a true professional. So what it requires is the integrity, self-awareness, and the pursuit of excellence. And it's explained in a very interesting manner by a lot of anecdotes. So that is book, which I liked. I have given it as a gift to many people. I'd like to gift it to you also. So that is one. And secondly, about a quote, I will not talk about one single quote, but what I like a lot is proverbs. So proverbs are wisdom of, a community or a country which has been passed on from generation to generation.
Correct.
So I like to, read or find out proverbs. Actually, I run a Facebook group,
He does,
yes.
where every day morning, I create a graphics. I'm a creative person, I'll tell you. So I create a graphics of a good proverb, and then I post it.
So he has also created an AI, tool where you can ask for a quote or a proverb for a specific situation.
Yes.
That's nice.
So it has got now 40,000 subscribers. That proverbs group, it's a private group.
40,000 for a private group is not small. That's great. So I've had a wonderful time talking to all three of y'all about tech and, about the future and about your past as well. So thank you so much for coming on the show.